Hello friends, Harshal here and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be discussing on AWS API Gateway. So here are the topics. What is API? How to create API Gateway in AWS? Deploy API Gateway. Then what is mapping template? API Gateway canary deployment. Then API throttling, which is occurred at Lambda function API Gateway and usage plan level. And then we will check usage plans. And in the end, I will be telling you about how to add resources and how to integrate AWS services with the API gateway. So let's get started. So the first question is, what is API, right? So here. Okay, so here is a block here, and you can see the what is an API, right? So here is the definition. You can see APIs are mechanisms that enable two software components to communicate with each other using a set of definitions and protocol. So basically what happened? So it enable the software components to communicate with each other. It means that the two application or the two software can be communicated. Okay, it establish a communication between two application or the software. Okay, by using the set of definition and protocol. Of course, those definitions and and protocol have to be defined in the syntax in a perfect form, right? By using programming language, API can be developed, and that API is very useful for the establishment of the communication between two applications. Okay, now here they have given an example. The Weather Bureau software system contains daily weather data. Okay, the weather app on your phone talks to this system via APIs and shows you daily weather updates on your phone, right? So basically what happened, the weather API is already installed in your phone, and that weather app on your phone talks to that Weather Bureau software system, right? That application which is installed in your mobile phone, that is make communication with the Weather Bureau software system, which contains daily weather data, and this data you can be seen in your phone. Okay, and daily weather updates, you can get daily weather updates on your phone, and yeah, this is something very useful for our day-to-day life. So here what happened, the application in your phone is communicated with the Weather Bureau software system. It means a server. Okay, it communicated with the server by using API, right? So okay, so I hope that you understand by this example. I try to simplify it. Okay, now what does API stand for? So API stand for Application Programming Interface. Okay, so it means that application programming interface. It means it is a programming interface, right? Interface is basically used for establish a communication between two applications. So that's why it is named after Application Programming Interface. In the context of APIs, the word application refers to any software with a distinct function. Interface can be thought as a contract of service between two applications. Okay, so this is nothing new. So here is how do API work. So API architecture is usually explained in terms of client and server, right? The application sending the request is called client. The application on your mobile phone, okay, which wants to fetch the data, weather updates. Okay, so the application in your phone is called client, and the application sending response is called a server. So application in your phone uh, sending the request to the server, right? And what happens, server send the response. So this is how it works. So in weather example, the bureau's weather database is the server. So here is the database is the server and the mobile app is the client. So I hope that you understand by this example as well. So okay, so now we will talk about, there are 4 different ways that APIs can work together on when and why they were created. So there are basically 4 types of APIs, right? So SOAP API, then RPC API, Websocket APIs, and the REST API. And very important APIs are, REST API is widely used out of these 4 APIs, okay? And that WebSocket API is very useful for the chatting. When you are using any chatting application, you wants to chat with your friend, so in that case that WebSocket API is very useful, right? Because what happen, A and B, they are chatting with each other, right? So what happen, A connected to the server, and server send the same data, which is A posted the data on server, and the same data, and B get those data from the server. So this is how, when you send a text, that text will be sent to your friend, and your friend, when he send the data, then you receive those data, you receive the text. So this is how it works. So I'll tell you in detail later on. I mean, after these 4 types I have explained, then we will go to our slide, and there I will explain in detail. Okay, so now what is SOAP APIs? So these APIs are simple object access protocol. SOAP means simple object access protocol. Client and server exchange messages using XML. Okay, so there are different format. Your data could be sent in XML format, JSON format, okay, or any other format, right? So here it uses XML format. So this is less flexible API that was more popular in the past. Okay, so it was basically used in the past because it only support only one format, that is XML format, for exchange of the messages between client and server. Okay, now the next one is RPC APIs. These APIs are called remote procedure calls. The client completes the function or procedure on the server, and the server send the output back to the client. So basically what happened, whatever the message A sending to B and B sending to A, or we can okay, I'll give you a different example. So let us say client sending a message to the server, and the server sending the response. Client send the request and the server send the response. So whenever the client sending the response, in that case what happen, those data, those IP packets should be packed, should be encrypted, okay, so that it should be sent out. It should be just like we can let us say there is a letter, okay, and that letter you have to be put inside the envelope. So this is how it works. Like there is data, if you want to send a request, so that request is actually put it into the envelope, right, and sent it to the server, and the server sending the same response. So that envelope is XML. Here is the XML, sorry, not here is the XML. Okay, so this is what it works. Okay, it happens that envelope should be in XML. Okay, so here for API, SOAP APIs, so here it is just a procedure call. So whatever, there is a program, there is a computer program which actually make that procedure possible. So that is called RPC APIs. Now WebSocket API. So WebSocket API is another modern web API development that uses this JSON objects to pass data. A WebSocket API supports two-way communication between client apps and the server. Okay, so this is important. A WebSocket supports two-way communication between client apps and the server, and here it uses JSON objects to pass the data. Okay, the server can send callback message to connected clients, making it more efficient than REST API. So it is more efficient than REST API. Why? Because it's a two-way communication. It established two-way communication, where REST API established one-way communication. Okay, it means that client send request to server. Okay, so this is a one-way communication. So after receiving the request, the server again establish connection with the client, and it send the response. So it takes some time to respond back, because first of all you need to make a connection, you need to find out where the client is, right? And it is not a two-way, because it's not a two-way communication. So that's why you have to first client communicated with the server, and then later on server communicated back, respond back to the client. So it's a two-way two-way communication. But here in the WebSocket, what happened? It's a two-way communication. It means that you don't have to wait for some time. Okay, already communication is made. Okay, you can send data, you can get response at a time. You don't have to wait for some time. There is some timeout, and then again you have to make communication. Again you have to make communication with the client and send response and all the stuffs. It takes a lot of time. It takes a time, not a lot of time, but it takes a time. Whether it could be a second or millisecond, but still it is not that much feasible as feasible as WebSocket API. Now REST API. So these are most popular and flexible APIs found on the web today. So it is widely used. REST APIs are widely used. The client send request to the server as a data. The server uses this client input. The server send request to the server. The client sends request to the server as data. The server uses this client input to start internal functions and returns output data back to the client. Let's look at the REST APIs in more detail below. So they have some given details, but it's okay. We will not go into it into depth. Okay, because I have already created some slides, and I'll show you by using the pictorial format. So here is the API. Okay, let us say you have Google Pay, Phone Pay. If you are doing transaction using UPI, then you must have Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm, or somewhat other banking UPI applications in your mobile phone installed. So what happens whenever you make a transaction, then the API you send a request to your bank for the transaction, right? And the bank then responded back to the your application. Okay, because bank validate your credential and send it transaction done by the banks, and then send it back to your application, and through your application the transaction is done. So this is what API works here. Okay, so this is work like this. Okay, so let us say GPay, he wants to communicate with the bank, one of the bank, let us say ICICI Bank. Okay, then ICICI Bank server should have the API which is called as ICICI Bank API, and the URL of that API, that GPay has to connect it through the URL of the API, ICICI Bank API. So GPay not directly go to the server, directly connect to the server. It will connect to the URL of the API. And then what happen, API find the request that this request is getting, okay, ICICI Bank API, it will find a request. And if that GPay company has any key, activation key or something, okay, so that activation key will be checked, and if everything is okay and the data is verified, request is verified, then it will go to the ICICI Bank server, and that server will fetch the data from the database of ICICI Bank, and that data will be validated and get send the response back to that GPay or whatever the UPI you are using in your phone. So this is how it exactly works. Okay, so I hope that you understand what is API. I just told you in a very simple manner, so I hope that you understand. Okay, now the next one is SOAP API. Okay, in SOAP API, what happened? Here is the sender. It means that the client, okay, client is sending the data. Okay, so that data, sending the data using HTTP protocol. So whenever you send the data over internet, then that client using HTTP protocol, okay, and the receiver or the server send it back to the SOAP sender or the client, right? So this is the request will be sent and the response will get back to the client. Okay, so this is the first time it has communicated, okay, and the second time communicated, the first time client communicated with the server, okay, and the second time server communicated with the client. So it is not the two-way communication, it is a unilateral communication, okay, one-way communication, unidirectional communication. Okay, so I hope that you understand. This is very simple. So it's basically use HTTP protocol to send the data over internet. So yeah, it works. So here if you go down here, you can see the REST protocol and the SOAP protocol. So here it use POX, RSS, JSON format, HTTP format. So all the format it use, XML format, so everything it use, right? So and if you want to, and here HTTP get, HTTP post, HTTP put, HTTP del, so there are so many options you will get here. Okay, but here the data format should be in POX, RSS, JSON, and so many data format it covers. But here in SOAP it only support XML format. So your data should be in XML format only, then it will be used in a SOAP APIs, right? Then it uses SMTP, HTTP, and this is something MQ, right? So it uses HTTP, SMTP, these all, but these all are not important. Only HTTP itself is enough to work everything, to transport your data, right? So that is not necessary. So later on that SOAP has been now SOAP API is not that much popular in today's world, so just because of that. Okay, and it is much slower than the REST API. So yeah, this is how it works. Now here you can see the REST API. Here the client sending the request. Okay, so if client wants to post the request, client wants to post a data on server, okay, then post, okay, HTTP post request. If you want to get the data from the server, then get. If you want to put, then put. If you want to delete, then delete. Okay, so these are the HTTP requests sent to the server, and server sending back data in XML or the JSON format. Okay, let us say client want to get the data. Okay, so if it will send a get request, HTTP get request to the server fetch the data from DB from database, then that data will be responded back to the client in JSON or XML format. But if you are using SOAP API, then it must be in XML format only. Okay, so this is how REST API is. Okay, and one more thing I just left out. The thing is that once the client send the request to the server. Okay, after sending the server, you can also define some timeout. Let us say I have put timeout that is 10 second, 20 second, so whatever the timeout it requires. Okay, so you have to wait for that time. So let us say 20 second. Okay, so you send the request and it started running, it started processing and fetch the data from database. So up to 20 second it will wait. The wait time is 20 second, and after 20 second it's sent back to the client. So why timeout is important here? Because if you have not mentioned the timeout, it may take minutes, it may take hours. Okay, you don't know that what happened. Okay, it keep on processing. There is a lot of there is a database which has a lot of data and it is taking too much time, or there is something going on which is not good. Okay, something anomaly is going on inside the server and it's keep on running. Okay, it is keep on pending. So you have to wait for a time, for minutes, for 10 minutes, for 30 minutes, and but you don't get back respond or the proper data. So in that case, so it should not happen that way. That's why timeout is important. If you have set timeout as 20 second, it means it has to wait for 20 second. If in 20 second server unable to fetch data from the database, it will send an error, right? So this is how it works. Now RPC API, so it's very basic API. Simply client has a client stub and the server has a server stub. It basically encrypted the data, like, okay, for sending the RPC request and getting response back, that RPC response. So that is called RPC API, and this is not that much important and not exactly in AWS point of view. So I'm just telling you in a very simple manner. Now WebSocket APIs. So here client and client. Let us say client A and client B. So client A wants to send the chat, hey, hi client B. Okay, clients want to send a text, hi. So that hi message sent to server, and then what happened? Server sent that message, sent it back to the client B. Okay, and this is how it works. So whenever client A post anything, he said hi. Okay, that hi is here, and it will send it back to client B. So, and if client B is sending the response hi, then that hi sent it back to client A. Okay, so it's a bilateral, right? So client server, it's a bilateral communication. So you don't need to wait and again communicate, again make a communication, establish a communication and send it back to the client response. So it will not like that. It will not like a REST API. So yeah, it's a two-way communication, and it's very useful for the chatting application and the application which is used in a real life sending messages. So yeah, it works like this. Okay, so now we will check it out about API gateway. So what is API gateway? So for that I'm going here and API gateway. So what is API gateway? So API gateway is used for creation of API, okay, building the API or manage the API. If you want to create an API, if you want to build an API, if you want to maintain API, then this is for you, right? If you have an application, a server where your application is running, but you want to create an API and set some instructions or something like that, then you can create API here. Okay, so how here we will see the definition first. So it will use to create, maintain and secure APIs at any scale. Amazon API Gateway helps developer to create and manage APIs to back-end systems running on Amazon EC2, AWS Lambda and any publicly addressable web service. With API Gateway, you can generate custom client SDKs for your APIs to connect your back-end systems to mobile, web and server application or services. So basically, developer is use this application, this service, that Amazon API Gateway, to develop an API. Okay, so right now you know very well that how API exactly works. So yeah, it's not very difficult for you to understand the process now. So there are some templates you are getting. Okay, so here some API type. So you can create HTTP API. So it build low latency and cost effective REST APIs with built-in features such as OIDC and authorization 2 and native core support. So works with the following: HTTP API works with Lambda and the HTTP backends, and then you can import or build the API here directly. So here we have actually this template. So this is the API type, we can call it here. Then WebSocket API. So WebSocket API, you can integrate with the WebSocket API. You can integrate with the Lambda, HTTP and the AWS services. So build WebSocket API using persistent connection for real-time use cases such as chat applications. So yes, that's what I talked about before. Or the dashboard, right? Okay, now the next one is REST API. So here in the REST API, develop a REST API where you gain complete control over the request and response along with API management capability. So again, you can integrate Lambda function, HTTP and the AWS services with the REST API. Okay, and the same with REST API private. So but here private means what happen, you should create your own network like VPC, okay, and you can create subnets, and then in that subnet only, in that network only, you can make a connection with the client and client and the server. Okay, so both client and server should be in the same network, so that you can make a connection, you can make a communication. So that is the private REST API. Okay, so right now I'll go with, okay, let me go with the REST API. Okay, I'll tell you that how can we create REST API. So I'm importing that REST API. You don't really need to make coding here. You need to write coding. You don't need to write a code. Okay, you can simply on your fingertips you can create API. So select whether you would like to create REST API or a socket WebSocket API. So I want to create REST API. So here create new API. So you can create new API or import Swagger or Open API 3. So there are some templates you will get if you want to import from Swagger or Open API 3, or you can go with the example API as well. Okay, I want to create a new API. Here is the example API. Okay, here you can see the complete coding, okay, that you don't have to write, everything is here. Okay, and it's a regional, endpoint is regional. Okay, so I will click on here that I want to create a new API, and then you have to make API. Okay, API name, you can give any API name. So let me give API name that is test API. Okay, and now you can give any name, and now the description, you can write the description. Okay, if you want. I want to write not available. Okay, now endpoint type, you can select regional endpoint, then age optimize and the private. Regional means let us say I'm working here in the Ohio region. Okay, then the client and the server should be in the same region. It should be in the Ohio region. Then it will make a connection. So that is called it is useful in a regional basis. Okay, it is useful in a specific region, so that is regional. So age optimize. Okay, so let us say there are so many age in different location. Okay, so everywhere that the connection can be made in a different location, not in a single location. And here is the private means the on your private cloud, if you have created your private VPC, virtual private cloud, and subnet, then in that subnet you can create your own network, and in that network client and the server should be there. It should be available there, and then you can connect. You can make establishment between two client server. Okay, I'll go with regional, and now creating API. So now API gets created. Okay, this is the API. Now I have to create a method. You can create a method, or you can create a resource as well, so whatever you want. So okay, so I'll go with the, what is this? Okay, method. So what method I want to choose get method. Okay, in get, you know, HTTP get means you are getting response, you are getting the data. Okay, you want to fetch the data, so that is why it is get. Okay, now you have to set up the get. So choose the integration point for your new method. So whom do you want to integrate with? You want to integrate your API with Lambda function. Okay, you want to integrate with existing HTTP API, or you want to return a response purely using API gateway mapping and transformation, or the mock. Okay, then AWS services, you can integrate with so many different AWS services. Okay, so you can select any one of them and you can integrate with your API. Then the VPC link, integrate with the VPC. Okay, if you have created your personal or the private VPC, then you can integrate with those link. Okay, now use Lambda proxy integration. If you want to hidden something, okay, then you can use that proxy integration. It means that the API URL will not be shown directly. It will be hit the Lambda function. If I choose the Lambda function, then it will hit directly to the Lambda function URL. Okay, and API URL and everything will be hidden, will be in the proxy. So that is called proxy. Okay, so here request will be proxied Lambda with request detail available in the event of your handler function. So whatever the request we are getting, those requests will be proxied. You cannot see the request. Okay, it will directly hit the Lambda function, and it will run the application, and it will send it back you the response. So that is request will be proxied to Lambda with request details available in the event of your handler function. Now handler function means that let us say I have created a code. Okay, and handler function means that code, the code name, right? So that is the handler function. Now lambda reason, okay, I'm good with US is 2, so let me check. Yes, it's a US is 2. And okay, now there is no lambda function. So what I have to do, I have to create a lambda function first, and then I have to integrate lambda function with the API. So let me create the lambda function. So for that, I'm going to lambda. So here okay, so we are in AWS Lambda. So here is the lambda function. Okay, here is the lambda dashboard, and you know very well that the concurrency, full account concurrency is 1000. Okay, and after 1000 it will show error, that is throttle. So yes, throttle can be occurred on AWS Lambda. Okay, now create the function. So I directly go to and create the function, give the name, that is Lambda API. Then I want to choose the runtime, that is Python 3.9, and then the permission. So if you have any existing role, then you can go with it, but I want to create some basic lambda permission. So I will create new role. Okay, it will be automatically create the new role. And then advanced setting, I don't go with the advanced setting at all. So right now I'm good to create a lambda function. So okay, it will take a time to create. Okay, now the lambda function has been created, right? And here what we want that the API gateway should be integrate with the lambda. Okay, so the API gateway invoke lambda function, and the lambda function run the application, and that it will get response back to the API. So that is the get. It means it is sending the request to fetch something, to fetch me a data. Okay, and that data gets back to the lambda, to the client, right, to the client. So okay, so we are good here, that we want to create. So if I go down here, you can see the code. Okay, this is the lambda handler, that is event and context. This is the definition of the lambda, define of the lambda handler, and that handler is important here. And this code will get run, right? This code will get run, and the output we will be get back to the client. So okay, so we are actually testing the API, so that's why we will find that the respond at API. Okay, send request through API and get back to the API, and that API then further send it back to the client. So yes, okay, now we are here in API. So let me refresh again. So this is correct, and now lambda API. So I can see here lambda API because it was created, and now it will reflect here. So use default timeout. So you can choose whatever the default time you want. So by default, timeout method request is 29,000 millisecond. 29,000 millisecond means 29 second. It is like 29 second. Yes. Okay, if you want to say 10 second, then you can write 10,000. So let me do 10,000. It means that I have set default timeout is 10 second. So let me do that. You are about to give API gateway permission to invoke your lambda function. So yes, now the lambda function has been we have integrated Lambda function with the API. So our API has been created. So the name of API is test API, right? And okay, so the request, if I do test, then what happened, the request will be sent to here in the API, okay, and that API will send request to Lambda function. Lambda function gets run and it will send it back request to the client. So this is the client, okay, let us say this is the client, okay. So the response will get back to the client. Okay, so let me test it. Okay, so the request sent, and okay, so here is the test. So now you can see the request has been sent, okay, and we get the response, that is, this is the response body, okay, that is hello from Lambda, right? So this is how it works. Okay, so this is very simple, and if you go back here, okay, so if you want to do some changes in the if you want to do some changes in the request, then you can click here in the integrated request and you can do some changes. Okay, let me do some proxy integration. So if I click here, okay, you will not be able to retrieve the previous execution configuration. Yes, no need. So okay, so now the Lambda proxy integration has been done. Okay, so let me go back, and now you can see that Lambda proxy. So this is how you can proxy here. Okay, so here now that integration response, you cannot configure transform response. So here, if you want to change the request, if you want to do any changes in the request configuration, then you can do that. But if you have done the proxy, then you cannot do that. Okay, now proxy is set, proxy integration has set. It means that we cannot do integration response. It means that when we get the response, so we can do some configuration changes in the integration response as well. But when you do that Lambda proxy, then you cannot do that. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, if you let me go here. Okay, in the integration, let me go here in the integration, and I just wanted to cancel it. So now it is unchecked. So once it is unchecked, and now you can see that you can change HTTP status pattern, you can change the output pass through, so everything you can change here. Okay, so yeah, you can add the response and all the things that you want to change, so you can do that. Okay, so I hope that you understand how to create the API. Okay, now